forgot to mention the box office numbers, but I'll just move on because I'm running out of time. So Dune was always going to be a box office risk, given its massive budget and dense mythology, and now it's faced with an additional challenge of the coronavirus pandemic and subsequent worldwide lockdown. So from Screen Rant, with numerous issues hanging over the December release of Dune, from the ongoing pandemic to a general audience that has a temperamental relationship with dense sci-fi epics, Warner Brothers has a potential box office disaster on its hands. Despite the promise of a faithful adaptation of Herbert's work and a suitable epic trailer, Dune will be a challenging sell for general audiences, and it's absolutely needs general audience interest in order to succeed. The question was brought up. Actually, it was Jason who brought this question up, this subject matter up, and I thought it was interesting because of the fact that this is another one of the movies that Warner Brothers is doing the date and date release. It's coming out on HBO Max at the same time as it's coming out in theaters. Now it's being released. It has been released in some countries already, and the reception of it has been great. But these are mostly countries that do not have HBO Max. So that's the question: is this movie set to flop? Here, at least here in the North America. What do you guys? Here's a bigger question for you guys: is there any interest in this movie? What about you, Sarah? What do you think?
I absolutely love Dune. I love the Dune franchise. The books are amazing. The old movies are amazing.
You're a Dune goon.
Yes, I am ready. I'm ready for the spice.
She's over the moon for Dune, ladies.
Yeah, I'm over the moon for Dune. But I am very excited about this movie. From what I can tell, it looks like a great movie. I don't think watching it at home on HBO Max will do the initial viewing justice. This is one of those big movies with epic scenery that's just going to be best seen in a theater setting, especially for the first time. If you think of like the first time you saw the Star Wars movies or you know, like a big epic that you absolutely loved, you can't see everything in the detail that you can see if you don't go to the theater. And this is just one of those movies that's just going to hit different in the movie theater. But I will also say that if they didn't do a good job, you will hear a different undertone to my excitement.
They ruined Dune.
No, it'll just be like how I feel about the new Star Wars movies. It's just not as good. It's not as good. And I just don't, I hope it's not recycled. I hope it's a true adaptation of the book, because the first movies actually left a lot of the book out. So there's still a lot of room to bring new material in, new interpretation in with the same basic storyline. So I'm excited, but I have this little bit of reservation going. Are they really going to do Dune justice?
Are they going to do the Dune? It sounds like
are they going to do the Dune? Is the sand? I want to see the sandworms. That's what I'm most. Sandworms
spoilers
and the spice.
I didn't know. I didn't know that this was I didn't know that this was a Tremors crossover. God, I know she's getting mad now. She's
like, where do you think Tremors got it from?
You know what?
Curse you!
I've heard that Dune did give a lot of inspiration to a lot of movies that we've seen that came afterwards. I didn't go back to Dune. I was this close to not even really being a Star Wars fan. I didn't watch Star Wars when it. Appreciated when it first came out. It was in my late teens where a family friend who loved Star Wars got me into it, and then I became a super nerd for it later. So, but Dune wasn't one of those movies that I went back to watch or appreciate. So I've never watched Dune. So maybe I should do a first time watching.
You should. These are movies I watched with
Mac
my
and Me
dad.
Again. Yeah, maybe I'll just watch Mac and Me again instead. That E.T. ripoff classic. Put in the
you can always watch the new one and then go back and watch the originals and then have
the entire cinematic Duniverse.
There you go. All
right, copyright.
Yeah. Since we've seen the originals and you haven't seen the originals, maybe you should watch the new one first.
Am I the only one? Amy, have you seen Dune?
Oh, absolutely not. No. I have no idea what we're talking about.
Oh my gosh, guys.
The classic Dune.
Wow.
The classic.
Oh.
But and in the chat box while we're talking about Dune, is it Garroda Legend says Ghostbusters movie does look good though. while speaking of Dune, Ghostbusters looks great.
But Dune
is Dune doomed? But here, no. For all seriously,
no, don't say that.
I'm sorry. Look,
I think this is one of those where it truly just depends on the reviews and the quality of the film. Because I feel like when you're doing a movie like this, you can make the fans happy. You can really shoot for mass appeal, or you can like hit that like Lord of the Rings, lightning in a bottle. Like if you're a diehard fan, you love it. And if you are walking in knowing nothing, it's still like totally great. And I feel like if they can get the middle of that Venn diagram, movies like that just blow up in a way that like COVID be damned, like people will go see it.
Well, what the Lord of the Rings did right, and what I'm hoping they'll do in this first Dune movie, because this first Dune movie doesn't cover all of the books and all of the stories that are in the Dune universe.
The Duneverse.
There you go. I hope that they do a truer adaptation of the original novels, because that's where the original movies fell a little short. Because the original movies did try to play towards that audience of that generation. And what was it, like the 80s, the 70s or the 80s when it came out? Like that long ago. And so they did play into that. They had some of that influence in, and I hope that this does not. I hope that this is a truer adaptation, just like the Lord of the Rings. They did really true adaptations of those works, and that's what made it so great for all the people that have loved it for so long, because those books were out for a really long time before they made movies into it again, had a massive following, and Dune is the same. So I hope
sorry, go ahead.
No, I just hope we get as much from this Dune franchise as, like you said, Lord of the Rings, because there is that much of a story, that many books. So it'll be interesting to see.
And it's such an immensely hard tightrope though, because I feel like if you lean too hard into that though, like, because I'm not a massive fantasy person. If you lean too hard into like, oh, well, like nothing pisses me off. Like when you see a movie and it's like, why did that happen? And someone goes, well, if you read the books, it's like, well, I didn't, I saw the movie. So it's such a hard balancing act. But if they do hit it, those can that's how you get.
But that's where they get lost. That's where the movie doesn't give a true representation.
Right. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but this movie is going to struggle in the box office, and it's not. And I'm going to tell you why. It's not because the movie is bad or anything. I believe this movie is probably exactly what people who've seen it are saying it is. It's probably awesome. This movie's probably awesome, and it's probably something I should go. You know what? I'm gonna support it. I was gonna watch it on HBO Max. I'm not gonna lie, I was, but I'm gonna go watch it in the theater. I'm gonna support it in the theater. And
if I was gonna see it, which like I'm gonna wait to see reviews, but like if I'm gonna go see it, it does feel like one you want on the big screen.
But even my little drop in the bucket of support, I'm telling you, the reason why this movie is going to struggle, I'm not going to say flop, I'm going to say struggle. It's because of Warner Brothers. Their decision to do the day and date for all of these, they should have done the day and date thing for a few of their major titles, not all. Because they got ahead of it. I don't know what they were thinking, that they predicted that the pandemic was going to have us shut down for another 2 or 3 years. But when the vaccine started rolling out and things started opening up again, and it's been proven already that certain movies that are released on streaming and in theaters simultaneously do worse financially than ones that versus the ones that go to theaters only. So
I just don't know why you wouldn't like even give it a month or so.
Yeah, they should just go back on their word and not release this on HBO Max and then force it to do what it needs to do in the theaters, because this is that type of movie that should on paper should succeed. But I'm telling you, that day and date thing is gonna cripple its chances.
Well, I think the moniker of what a successful movie is needs to change with this simultaneously streaming release, because you cannot say a movie is unsuccessful if half the people that would have gone to the theaters again watch it at home on their live streaming service, which is also something that they're making money off of.
No, they are absolutely making money off of it,
but I'm saying, but you can't say it flops. Well, like it would be, they have to choose a new moniker of a measurement of success. They can't say because it didn't make all the billions in the theaters that it wasn't a successful movie, because more people maybe watched it.
Fair enough. Okay, so they lower the bar on what so what I'm really saying is that
they changed the measurement.
But the reality of it is, if it doesn't make that, streaming will not ever make as much money as necessary to justify these spending $250 million on production and all that marketing and whatnot. So you
well, if you look at how Disney is doing the premium, where you're having to pay $30 to watch it within that short period of time, why isn't HBO Max doing that too with their simultaneous release? And then they're using that money. They're saying, hey, this counts towards the opening box office. Why isn't that happening?
I know Scarlett Johansson's watching right now, was like, I can answer that question. Because the money that, because she wouldn't be suing if the money that you could make versus in the theater, which when these movies were in pre-production, when these contracts went out, this was tailor-made for all going to the theater only. And then obviously the pandemic happened. They made some adjustments, and now these movies are getting screwed over. But it could be a success. It could be the greatest movie ever made, and fans might all like it. But the money that it's going to make on streaming, because there is a lot of piracy that goes on when you have something on streaming, with streaming and whatnot versus it going in theaters, it will be much less than what you need if you want that sequel, that franchise, or those big budgets. The money that you can get from the theaters is what pays for that. But in streaming, you get less quality. You get the spectacle won't be as big. It might be a good story still, but things like if special effects are what are your bag, or the big end game budget, that's not gonna, you're not gonna pay that bill with streaming.
Well, obviously the movie makers have to take that into account for future movies, because if they're doing this, then they're basically shooting themselves in the foot, which doesn't make any sense. So obviously they're making more money, and I bet you people are signing up for HBO Max just to get ready and watch this Dune movie. And I'm imagine their subscriptions during that month, and ultimately that's the continuous money maker, is getting them hooked on those really pricey subscriptions, because HBO Max, it's not cheap.
Yep, it's
so they'll get them in.
I gotta look up again what place it's in versus all the other streaming networks. I know obviously Netflix is still number one, but that's the ultimate question. So I'm gonna leave it up to the audience, guys. Let us know what you guys think in the comment section. Maybe we'll talk about it further on We Got Your Mail. Are you going to see Dune? Are you gonna support it in theaters? Are you gonna watch it on HBO Max? Are you a Dune goon like Sarah? Right? Are you? All right, that's copy like patent pen. And what was that phrase that you came up with, Amy? Are you?
Over the moon for Dune.
Over the moon? Are you over the moon for Goon? Patent pending for Amy. That's
copyright.
But
cinematic universe.
I don't know. I'm gonna keep my word. I will go to the movie theater and watch it. I will throw my support to it. Thank you, AMC A-List. You're not sponsoring me, but you should. You sons of bitches. All right, but to the last topic of the that comes to us.
Our supporters help make all this content possible, so make sure you check out our Patreon page so you can help us bring you the content you want.
Push the pedal to the freaking metal. I'm turned up just like heavy metal. Yo. Turned up on another level. Push the pedal to the freaking metal. I'm turned up just like heavy metal.